So I wanted to talk to you about planning for 2021, goal setting for 2021. And today's class might not be very long, but it's kind of intensive with homework you're going to have to do. And that's why I want to get to it. I know it's 10:22, but this is exactly when you have to start thinking of these things. And the first piece of paper that I wanted to kind of show you was let me go to what I sent you. And it was that life list. That is the most important thing you could do first. And if you could make sure that you at least do your life list. Oh, things playing. Maybe that's you guys talking. New agent training, supporting documents. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen. And actually, this is the one that came out of Ninja. And it's very simple, but when I was in the Ninja class, I think it was in the Ninja book, I saw there was an explorer and he had his own life list. And it was sort of an example of what a life list looks like. So I made mine based on, I was like, well, I don't know where to start with a life list. So when I started mine back when I went to Ninja the first time, I used that guy's life list. I said, well, that sounds good. I want to do that too. He said, explore the Amazon River. This is like 150 years ago, whatever. I was like, I'd like to explore the Amazon River. So I put it on here. Because when you're starting to do your life list, you're like, wow, I have like 3 things. I can't think of it. But it's when you actually think about like, what do you want to do with your life? And then there's no holds barred. So if you want to find the one that was my life list, or if you want to use the plain Ninja sheet and recreate it for yourself, mine is a little bit different just because I put the to be and the to give separately. And it's hilarious because this is before I met Dave, and the things that were important to me now are different than they were. But it is fun. Once you start doing this, you start thinking about like, what are your life goals? What do I need to make in life to make this happen? And you will be amazed with how quickly you start knocking these things off. Like home in town. I can't believe I was even thinking that because I've lived in town for years now. But when you start putting it on paper, that's the first way to make your goals. Of the people on this call, who has one? Anybody have one already that's gone to Ninja? How about you, Stacy? Did you do one after you went? Nobody? Oh, you so have to do this.
I haven't looked at it in a long time.
But you have one.
I have one, but I don't even remember what's on it.
See? So
yeah.
Part of my Monday morning planning, I always had my planner, my Ninja sheet of who I needed to call. And I'd have my goals list for the week, all the things I needed to get done. This is all your Monday morning meeting. But on the back of it, on my paperclip, was also my life list. And at least look at it once a month. I mean, it's amazing. It should be top of mind. You should be working towards doing the things in life you want to do. So I've already
done one of the things on your list.
You have, or I have?
I've done one, number 20.
Number 20, where is it? You know where that is. See, I don't even know what the Okefenokee swamp is, but it sounded really good. I was like, I'd like to see that swamp, so I'm putting it on my...
It's the Okefenokee. Okefenokee.
I think you told me this before. Somebody else told me what it was. Like, I had never been to the Grand Canyon. Actually, I still haven't. So that's your first thing I wanted you guys to work on. And that's all I wanted to talk about that. So the next one, now this is really harsh to do this, the net worth goal sheet. So when I was, if I had been in this class when I was a new realtor, I'd want to cry after I saw this class. Like, I don't have any of these things. Like, what I own versus what I owe is like negative $30,000 probably, because I had this huge credit card bill. I had just gotten divorced. I was living without running water. It was pretty harsh. But when you put this all down on paper, it could still be harsh if you were 10 years my senior when you're really putting things down on paper. But you want to think about, it's easy if you bought your own home to say, yeah, I have a $500,000 home. But when you think about like, what do you actually owe on it? What do you own? This can be a really positive thing or a really negative thing when you put it all on paper. But you want to look at your net worth. So I also want you to work on this part of it. At least try to get your life list and get your current net worth down, okay? So once I did this isn't all something I could do in a week. It was like, I had to look at my net worth. And then I was like, well, I don't even know what my goals are for the year, like how I want to work and how much money I need to make to support myself. I was super throwing a number out there like, well, I mean, it'd be cool to make 80 grand. I mean, this is 15 years ago. I'd love to make 80 grand. That sounds great. I heard that, the average realtor at Coldwell Banker, yeah, I guess that was 20 years ago now, was making about 80 grand. I'm like, I'd like to make 80 grand. That sounds good. But like, it isn't until you put stuff down on paper that, that you know that. So here, now, once you have your net worth, break in if you have a question about what any of this means, but a lot of these could be zeros for you if you're a younger person, or even if you're not. And then what I own versus what I owe, what I want, right? So set a date, like maybe this is just in the next year. Maybe you want to just say, and I don't remember what Ninja told me, but even if you said by the end of, let's say, 12/31/2021, if nothing else, I just want to pay off my car and maybe get a little bit of cash in the bank. You guys have to definitely think that the market isn't going to be like this forever. It could be like this well into 2021 and maybe finish the year strong in 2021. Who knows? But you have to know that definitely don't start doing really well in real estate and then buying a Lexus. I see a lot of Lexuses in the parking lot. That's great if that's your thing, but you want to pay for things in cash. You want to start paying off your debts. And if you're going to buy a really good realtor car, make sure that it's a very low payment and you can get that thing paid off as quickly as possible. And you're able to not eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the rest of your life. But set a goal for yourself for at least the end of 2021. And you want it to be, I hate saying I want you to be realistic, but I also want you to, obviously, you're not going to probably buy a house next year and put a bunch of money into retirement. I know only when I had my second kid, I finally, like, I was always about buy. When I found a deal with a property or was able to move, I had all these things going on, and I hadn't really thought about having, I didn't think about it, but having cash in your bank account for a rainy day fund. Really, somebody told me getting into real estate that if you could get 6 months of basic living expenses in a bank account where it's just cash, like it is sitting in a special account that you don't touch, but you will be amazed in real estate how that changes your life. So you will go less from hand to mouth and how am I going to get my next deal? Being stressed in your deal, and your buyers can see that when you're stressed about needing to make your next paycheck. I know who those people are. When they close on a property and about an hour later, they're like, you haven't checked my file yet, I need to get paid. So you want to get yourself to a point where if you have money in the bank, it changes your stress level. Everything changes if you can even just get to 3 months in a bank account somewhere and keep your expenses low until you can get a little money set aside. I went back and forth in my life, but when I finally was able to put money aside for a good 3 to 6 months, that's just sitting there. It just feels so good to see that statement once a month. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Oh, I hear you. How are you doing there, Luis?
Doing pretty good. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think I finally figured it out.
Well, that's awesome. The next thing I wanted to show you, and I don't teach retirement classes, so that's not what this is about, but where's the other one? I just have to show you this one. So I got this from Tierney Scahill, of all people, probably in 2003 or 2002. And I just found this was an amazing piece of paper. So you just have to look at it. If you're putting $2,000 aside when you're younger for a few years and then nothing else for like 30 years versus putting the same amount of money in for like 30 years when you wait, you have a difference at the end of like $100 and some thousand. So it really matters to just try to sock a little bit away. Now, I don't know what they're assuming. Oh yeah, see, they're assuming a 10% growth rate. So it's a little bit misleading, but still put some money aside when you can. And again, I said I'm not going to be teaching you about investing or anything. Okay, so this is the next ninja sheet that I wanted to show you. Because when you do goal setting, I'm going to do some super simple goal setting with you maybe next week or maybe a few weeks from now. But I love this. So this comes up with a very exact number of This is the more fun piece of paper once you get through the other stuff about how much you really own and how much, okay, like, so I own nothing right now, but I want to pay off my $30,000 car or my $20,000 car, and I would love to sock a little money into a rainy day fund. So let me, that's how you kind of come up with, well, what do I actually spend a month? Look on your credit cards, look on your, how much debt reduction, creature comforts. You want to have some, put a little bit of retirement funds, your business costs. So it doesn't cost you zero to have a business. You got to pay for your car. You got to pay for your ads. You got to pay for your open house brownies. You got to pay for whatever it is that you do. I know when I was, the only number I can remember is when I was making about $120,000, $130,000, that those business costs, like just for marketing, not for anything else, was about $8,000 that I was spending. So I don't remember, maybe this isn't a time when you had to do that more, like with physical printed ads, and maybe you can get by with a lot less of that. But when I was a realtor, there were a lot of thousands of dollars that just kept going out the door because of marketing or closing gifts or, oops, I kind of made a mistake in a contract. Here's $1,000 to, or $500 towards a cleaner, or, you know, there are costs of doing business. So at least make sure you're not thinking you're not going to spend any money. You have to spend money to make money. It's the whole geo farming or whatever it is you want to do. Don't think you have to do everything yourself and have that zero. It's okay to spend money to make money. Debt reduction, business growth. Business growth would be like, I want to go back to Ninja, or I'm going to go take these classes, or I really want to try this new nifty CRM, or any of that kind of stuff that you really feel would help you grow your business. And I guess it could be, you know, I need a new computer too, or something like that. Family growth, I don't know, personal growth. That's, again, whatever you think that is. And recreation, like you need to do, and then mind to keep. Have some fun. You can't just live hand to mouth all the time. So maybe when you're a new agent for the first 6 months, 9 months, I understand, but have some money that you can take yourself out or celebrate in some way. I mean, I was 20 years ago when I was a new realtor. It was back when CDs, you know, Southwest Sound was there. So I'd go from the closing, like, I'm going to do something for myself. I'm completely and totally broke, but I'm going to Southwest Sound. I'm buying myself a new CD. So whether it's taking yourself out to lunch or do something for yourself to celebrate, you have to take care of yourself too. So really, I mean, how many of you have been through this process before where you've done this kind of goal setting? Stacy, I know you have. What are your thoughts on it?
Geez, I don't know.
You did this before, right?
I don't know that I have done that.
Oh, okay. Well, you'll be doing it. I know when I did it, my first time in Ninja. So again, when I was a salesperson, I was a good salesperson, but I was like number 7 in the office or something. I never was in the top 5. Mine to keep, not mine to keep. My receiving goal was $198,000. That's what I came up with. I'm like, whoa, okay. Well, I gotta get busy. But if you put it out there, it is amazing how close you get, because there was a year that I was within like $2,000 of what I had put on my receiving goal for the year. So this is the way of, if you have this goal and you review it every week when you're doing your Ninja planning, your Monday morning planning, you look at what you wanted to make for the month. You're going to get into serious, like, this is how many buyers I have. This is how many calls I have to make. This is how much the houses have to be worth. You can go into that super planning, but until you have this kind of stuff done, this is the heavy lifting of the just thinking big picture about your life. Until you do this, you can't do the rest. You don't know what you need. You're like, oh, go back to what I was saying, where, oh, it sounds good. Maybe I want to make $80,000. That sounds good. I guess I can keep eating my peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and do it that way. But would you guys commit to doing at least some of this by next week, to just sit down and think about it?
Sure.
Cool. Sure. That's really the gist. That's not a very long training, but let me see if there was anything else in there that I could share real quick. I guess I can't because I don't have anything on my screen. There was one really cool piece of paper. Let me see if I have it. I guess I could share this now. I calculated a couple years ago. It wasn't as good a market. Here, 2017. I'll share this with you maybe before next year. It was an NAR statistic. And then I calculated it with about what people in here we're making the top agents, but this is what the NAR statistic was. Forget about what the top agents in here were making, but realtors who work less than 20 hours a week had a median gross income. Okay, so they're working less than 20 hours a week. They're kind of half into it. They're half doing something else. They're just, oh, you know, I sell real estate. Yeah, you should work with me. Their median gross income before any of their expenses was $8,900. This is like 3 years ago now, 2 years ago now. $8,900 a year. So after their expenses, what? They made like peanuts. While those who work 60 or more hours per week, so the people who are just, they're working hard, not that they're working stupid, they're working hard, and they're probably working smart too, because they're in the business. They're not just saying, oh, I'm just sitting at my desk for 60 hours a week. They're actually out there. They had a median gross income of, this is median across the whole country, of over $100,000 for sure. So I was kind of combining, well, is this reasonable here? So that's the difference here, is if you're doing just a few hours a week, you're working for about $7 an hour, okay? And if you're putting your time into it, you're making at least $31 an hour. And I know, you know, I'm like a real detailed person. I used to kind of keep track of my hours, like, you know, about what I was doing a week. I just write it down, you know, how many, am I working 40 hours? Am I working 50 hours? And I know when you get good at real estate, it is so easy to make your production more like $60 hours after everything. You know, after all your expenses are paid, you're making a lot more than that because you're working smart. You're not working stupid. So that's all I really had. Do you guys have questions about goal setting? I'd rather you take the extra time and start working on it than anything else. I had no idea I could get through that in like 18 minutes. Oh, here's a chat. Hold on. You use the business. Oh, you guys do use the business tracker. Do you like that? Okay. There's tons of different kinds of planning. I just always think that Ninja puts, oh, there it is. See, check that out. Check that out. I use that too. Yep. Or used to use it with, you're putting everything into place. I think that's awesome. So I'll share with you, when we do business planning, Jared used to do it for me to sit you down and kind of go over your 2021 goals, but he's so freaking slammed right now. I don't know if he's going to have time to do it. So if he doesn't, then I'll give you a couple of options for planning for 2021. So Ninja is super intense of, you got to think about like, how many calls do you need to make? How many calls did you make to make a sale this year? It's probably a lot for you guys when you're new, but as you get to be better, you make less calls and you can close more deals. But you get into the nitty gritty of, you really want to make $200,000 a year. It is not a problem. You can do that in real estate. I do not think that any of you couldn't do it, but you have to figure out how many doors do you have to knock on? How many phone calls do you have to make? Like, you have to have that comfort level of, am I that person right now? Or do I want to be that person? Or do I want, like, am I going to have a little slower start to real estate? So you just got to make some decisions. But no, that's all I got for you. If you guys have some ideas of, I have a bunch of classes I want to teach you at the end of the year. So things I wish I knew in real estate, some just kind of end of the year things you have to do. But I have a little time period in here where we're a little bit early to be teaching some of that. So if you guys have had contract problems or issues with buyers and you don't think I've covered it yet, let me know, and I can teach a class for that too. So that's it for you. Have a good week, unless you have some questions. You guys good?
We're good.
Bye. Have a great
Thanks, Heather.
day. Yeah.
You
Thanks,
too.
Heather.